Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user What Should I Do 0987. I, 23 female, found my paternal family recently, but they're gang affiliated and I have no idea what kind of involvement I want. I grew up with my mother. She was 19 when she had me. And although she did as much as she could, she didn't have much of a support network. She lived on welfare or minimum wage, and it could be rough. It culminated one day with me being kicked out at 15, me refusing contact thereafter, and we've been estranged since. There's a lot more to it than that, but I don't know how pertinent it is. After she kicked me out, a friend's family sort of illegally adopted me and helped me complete school. After many years, I'm coming to the end of my degree now. Now, this year I looked up and found the guy that my mother said was the name of my father. She told me once when she wasn't all there, but otherwise would refuse to say. I found and met up with the man's mother twice, who was very kind, but the man himself had a lengthy prison sentence he only completed relatively recently. It was for drug and assault charges in association with this gang, and despite his best intentions, he is still involved with that gang. It just so happens that his mother has told me about how he was discussing his newfound daughter in the gang, house, pad, whatever you want to call it. A lot of my biological extended family are apparently in prison, in a gang, or gang affiliated. Some of them, however, got out of the lifestyle and have done really well. A few even in the field I'm going into, which would be really cool to get to know them on that basis. I don't mean to be judgmental either, but doing the math in my head, the man would have had to be in his mid-30s when he was sleeping with my mother. I don't know this man's character, but the information I have makes me unsure if I want to know him. Has anyone else gone through this? I feel like I'm staring at Pandora's box and that I won't be able to snap it shut again afterward. I just need to make a decision on this. I keep deferring this and it's been half a year since I've seen her and she keeps texting me asking when she can see me next. It's easy not to make a decision, but I need to figure this crap out. It isn't fair to string his mother along, and she was just so effing lovely, living by herself in the middle of the countryside. I worry she's lonely too. I expressed my reluctance to meet the bio father, and although she was not pressuring me, she didn't seem to process that. Because he lives in the same area as her, I would really not like it if I showed up and my bio dad was there. Even when I went last time, she had my half-brother over and introduced us, which caught me off guard. I bear no resemblance to my mother in complexion or face shape, but my half-brother had an extremely strong resemblance to me in this regard. He even shared my really particular crooked teeth, so that sealed the deal in my head that we're related. He's only young and even now he's hanging out with family members in the gang, asking for a gun, mocking police and that kind of thing. Crap, I don't know, he's such a nice kid. Have you guys had any experience with this or advice? I'm back in the area this weekend and I've resolved to make up my mind before I go down. I'll either shut it down or move forward. Well, OP, even though your biological grandmother sounds like a really lovely person the way you talk about her, if I was in your shoes, I would say thank you very much, but I'll just continue my life the way it is. I'm good. Finding your bio family is of course important, particularly if you're looking for medical history. And I don't know if this could work, but considering he was in prison, maybe his medical record is public knowledge and you can just request it. I don't know, but what I do know is that I wouldn't want to be associated with the gangs, not because of reputation, but because of how dangerous it is. And I'm not speculating here. Your bio father was in prison for a long time because of drug and assault charges in association with his gang. Now, as a side note, you say in the post that despite his best intentions, he is still involved with the gang. What do you mean with best intentions? Did he write the gang a letter and say, I don't want to be a part of your club anymore or something like that? Because intentions, well, that's basically words. The fact is, he's still a part of the gang. And that would be enough for me to say, nope, I'm moving on. OP, that's what I think you should do. And what about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Some swell guy says, quote, "What the hell do I do?" End quote. Honestly, if I was in your shoes, I'd just leave all this behind. There's a reason why your mom had to run away from this to raise you alone. There's a reason why your grandmom is living alone in the middle of the countryside. They are alive precisely because they did that. You're an educated graduate, a survivor. You've not been touched by this curse. So why in the hell would you want to get close to and associate with any of your gang-affiliated family members? Start a new life somewhere else. Get a good job, get a boyfriend, fall in love, do normal people things. If you want to live a good life, drop all contact with every single one of them. Your mom may not have had much, but she at least gave you this one opportunity to be normal. Take it and live your life somewhere else. Queer here says, most children of toxic families take decades to crawl out from them. The guilt sucks you down like a swamp and their problems are your problems. I think digging your way precisely into a swamp would be pretty crazy. And OP responds, yeah, that's my gut instinct since finding out. It's such a bag of problems I wouldn't even be equipped to handle, and red flags abound. Brightlock says, no, don't go. I know what you're going through. It's hard to feel disconnected, unwanted, and without a home. Been through this with my own therapist. It's a deep hurt to be abandoned by your own family, the ones that are supposed to love you the most. And people will basically do anything, put themselves in any danger to make this hurt go away. These people are dangerous, OP, actual gang members. Don't put yourself in danger here. Think to yourself, if you met these people on the internet through a hobby, would you go over there and meet their whole family? No, right? Don't go. And OP responds, hey, I really agree with you here. You hit the nail on the head. That kind of emotion is what incited me to find them in the first place. And in this context, if I let it overrule any logical assessment, it's only going to drive me into trouble. Glad to hear you saw a therapist about it. It can make these kinds of issues a lot clearer when you can actually identify the emotional motivations in the situation. I think I have some similar feelings to what you described, so I need to reach out and find my own one. Additional information from OP's comments. My biggest motivator for getting in touch with my paternal family in the first place was to get medical history information in case I ever needed it. Yep, that's what I was thinking. I still don't have this information. Well, that sucks. But I think that the grandmother is kind enough to send it to me if I ask for it, even if I do decide to fade them out. And also, I'd like to say thank you. I can't believe that the seriousness of him discussing me at the gang house with his mates didn't occur to me. This made my mind up. Having gang members come after me is not something I ever want to experience. OP's edit. Thanks a lot for your various insights and advice. There's a consensus that getting involved with a gang-related extended family is a terrible idea, which is totally in line with my thinking. I'm still not 100% sure I don't want to see the grandma again, and I should explain further. When I've met up with her, she's explained all the trouble she's had with the gang over the years and tried to get people out of it a lot. She's raising quite a few of her grandkids to get them away from it all, getting CPS to remove kids from the gang, for example, and not letting those heavily involved in the gangs around her house. She's not fond of it at all. Additionally, when I went to visit her, I didn't explain the seriousness of how much I didn't want to see the extended family. She told me on the spot, and I needed time to process that. On the other hand, I'm still reluctant, as she is family-oriented and still visits them at the gang house. However, I've made the decision to seek further advice from someone who's an ex-police officer, who's worked undercover in gangs and getting kids out of them. They have experienced how gangs operate regarding families and whether it's feasible to try to get to know the grandma or if it's absolutely not worth it. Thanks a lot for your advice. You've all made me feel pretty sure that the extended family is totally out of the picture and it might be best to walk away from this. Alright, well, it sounds like OP was picking up everything that the community was laying down because she's very much convinced that she doesn't need to have a relationship with the gang family. The only but right now would be the biological grandma. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on with that update. So after posting my original thread almost 2 years ago, the advice was unanimous and I got a few PMs really hitting home how bad it could become. To be sure, I talked with an ex-undercover cop. When he began explaining how to tell if I was being scoped out for being sexually assaulted by gang members, that's what steeled my resolve to shut this door and never look back. Now, I understand that you don't exactly walk into a gang place and get assaulted on the spot, but I refuse to risk being a part of someone's revenge against him. The reason why in this case I placed more weight on my safety is because he had a turbulent relationship with his gang and other associated gangs, and had a long history of that kind of involvement. If people wanted to hurt him, which people have in the past, it would be particularly easy for them to get to him through me. Other things I was told were not to meet him in the gang base and to try to base contact as much as possible remotely. Amongst other things I should look out for if I choose to pursue a relationship. But I didn't. I continued building my life as I would up in college. I stopped replying to my grandma, who sent me increasingly desperate messages imploring me to get to know my real dad. I even received texts from my bio dad implying that I had abandoned him. I guess I thought you were finally coming into my life. Guess you're too busy for me now. I was really hoping you'd respond to us. I never did though. Anyway, the bio dad died the other day. I don't know how, except that an obituary for him says it was sudden. I highly doubt it was natural causes. Used his gang name and included gang shoutouts, etc. His body was kept in the gang house for people to pay their respects before traveling with the gang members to where he was buried. When I received the message from my bio grandma, it said, "Thought that you'd like to know that your dad died today. He would have loved to know you." I remember that I was walking into a bar admissions ceremony for one of my close friends that day, read the message for a second, looked up at the amazing architecture of the building, and felt at peace. My boyfriend was with me at the time and read the message over my shoulder. He asked if I was okay, and I was. When you search r/relationships for biodad, a lot of people come up who are struggling with how far to go just for a biological relationship with someone. I guess I'm making this update to affirm people who feel ambiguous or confused about how far to go for biological relations or what you owe to the people who conceived you. You don't have to owe them anything, and sometimes the right decisions can be hard to feel like they were the right decisions because of a lack of negative feedback. Because I'm permanently estranged from my bio mother, I'll never know the real context and background of my conception. I often get people asking about my real parents and if I miss them, long for them, or feel empty without them. But I've had my genome tested to take control of my medical information. I have Christmas traditions with my illegally adopted family because I choose to keep them in my life. It's okay, it's better than okay. Thanks to everyone who commented and PM'd me. I feel like I made the right choice. Best of luck to people working through it themselves. Well, OP, this is definitely a positive, happy update for you. I mean, you got a really good life right now, and it would have probably been derailed had you gone the other way. So good for you on making the right choice. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Enough Snorlax. My 27 female boyfriend's 28 male snoring is killing our relationship. Throwaway because he knows I read it and I'm at my wit's end with this problem. James and I have been together for 2 years and we've been living together for 1. I'm absolutely in love with him. He treats me better than any guy I've ever been with and I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. But now I'm not so sure. We've talked about the future and he's on board with marriage and kids in the near future. The problem is that when he drinks, whether it be a slight buzz or if he gets completely pissed, he snorts so loudly. For the past 2 years, I've been trying everything I can to offset it. I've bought him a nose clip, but he lost it a month later. I bought earplugs, but they only work when he's buzzed and lightly snoring. With the heavier stuff, they just don't work. I've even tried different positions for him to lie in to try and get better airflow, but nothing is working. I'm losing countless hours of sleep every time he wants to go out and drink with his buddies or celebrate with me, and he tends to drink a lot. It's gotten so bad that I've thought about breaking up with him because I can't imagine my life being as tired as I am the nights he wants to drink. I can't dictate when he drinks or how much because that's not my place, but I don't know if I can live with this for the rest of our lives, especially if we decide to have a kid and my nights will already be shortened. Most of the time when he snores, I end up on the couch because he's basically dead to the world and I can't wake him. He always tells me to wake him up so he'll sleep on the couch, but it's impossible to get him up once he's falling asleep. I'm a small person, so the couch is alright, but it's definitely uncomfortable. I don't know what else to do. This has all come to a head because we just got back from a vacation from halfway around the world and both of us are severely jet lagged. To help him fall asleep, he's resorted to drinking to get himself tired enough to want to pass out. That's great for him because he's gotten back to his regular sleep cycle fairly easily. But that's left me with a snoring monster every night that has kept me awake and has made my sleep cycle and jet lag even worse. Work is a nightmare right now and I can't even fix it on the weekends because he goes out and drinks. I've talked to him about this problem countless times and he's always really apologetic, but his solutions are, I'll sleep on the couch, but he never remembers when he gets home drunk. He just passes out in bed. I want to know if anyone out there has dealt with this problem in a successful way or if maybe it's time to move on from the relationship and find someone who won't keep me up at night and diminish my health. Well, OP, even though your sleep problem is a huge problem because, yeah, not cool, I would say his drinking problem is also quite important and I would say you need to address that. Sleeping on the couch or the nose clip and all that stuff, they're just half measures. They're not going to solve the problem. That's like taking pain medication when your pain comes from anxiety. Sure, you're treating the symptom, but the underlying condition is not going to go away. So I'd say you need to do two things. One, you need to talk to him about his drinking. Either you're overrepresenting how much he's drinking or I think he's got a problem. And two, you gotta get him to a doctor because you say he also snores heavily when he's not drunk. You know, the drunk just makes it even louder. So it could be that he's actually also having trouble breathing regularly and he snores because of it. Regardless of what you do, it is clear that you've come to a breaking point. So the least you could do is talk to your boyfriend about it. But don't just fall for the half measure of, oh yeah, I'll just sleep on the couch. You know that doesn't work. You need to really talk about it. And what do you guys think about OP's predicament? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Deleted says, is this simply a snoring problem or is it a drinking problem and a boyfriend problem? You say your boyfriend drinks a lot and that he'd used alcohol to get to sleep. I mean, he knows that your sleep is severely disturbed whenever he drinks. You've tried several solutions and his solution, you waking him up to sleep on the couch, clearly isn't working. It looks like the onus is on you to act, wearing earplugs, buying a nose clip, waking him up. Has he put in any effort to correct the problem himself? Saying, I'll sleep on the couch doesn't count because it clearly doesn't work. And OP responds, I've debated whether or not to talk to him about his drinking because it is very frequent but not uncommon for our friend group. In fact, he drinks the less out of our closest friends. But he still has a couple of beers every night to de-stress from work. I don't know if it's too much or a problem because it doesn't affect his work or social life, just my sleeping. He comes from a family of snorers. That's who we visited on our trip and I can vouch for it, but I don't think he knows how to fix it because he wasn't fully aware of it until I came around. What can I suggest he do? Stop drinking and go to the doctor. One Kate says, if he's drinking a few beers on the days he's not drinking, and on the nights he's drinking he passes out so hard he can't be told to sleep on the couch, he is drinking what doctors would deem an unhealthy amount. He might be able to handle it at work right now, and he might hang out with a lot of alcoholics. Friends of a feather drink together. But that doesn't negate that there is a negative effect to his life that he is ignoring because he prefers binge drinking. Besides the health benefits from hangovers to long-term cognitive and health issues, his girlfriend is miserable and suffering as a result. He needs to check himself and his consumption. I can offer a few other ideas to help with the actual snoring in the short term, like installing a simple lock on the bedroom door so he can't come in when returning home wasted face. But you have already done the research to know he only snores when he drinks, so the rational thing to remove from the equation is the drinking. And OP responds, "You are right, and I'm going to talk to him about his drinking. But even when he's sober, he's hard to wake up. He's just a really heavy sleeper in general, and I'm sure the drinking makes it worse. I'm just afraid to bring up what could possibly be a sensitive subject. We're very open about things and problems in our relationship, but this might hit too close to home since his grandmother was an alcoholic. And he tends to think negatively of her for it, but I don't think he sees his problem as being the same thing." Matcha Cheese 22 says, "My boyfriend snores, not because of drinking, just in general. And solutions that have worked for us are a white noise machine, me putting headphones on if it's really bad, and him giving me full permission to elbow him awake. Usually I wake him up and then fall asleep before he's in a deep enough sleep to start snoring again. Your boyfriend could also buy himself a new nose clip since he lost the one you bought him." Well, the community was pretty clear with OP. She needs to talk to her boyfriend about the drinking and then try to solve the sleep thing. And we got from OP's comments that she plans to do just that. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thanks to everyone who took the time to reply and the awesome people who messaged me about their personal stories and gave me some great advice. To the negative commenters, well, my man is still awesome, so sorry you didn't get the breakup hit the gym scenario you wanted. To start off, I talked to my boyfriend about his drinking. He completely agreed and he realized he was getting out of hand as well. We both promised to try and keep each other on a healthier path for eating and drinking, and so far we're doing great. His drinking has definitely gone down and he realized he was sleeping a bit better, but not 100%. We decided then to contact someone we know who has ties to the medical community in the country we're currently living in. He provided us with information and set us up an appointment with a sleep specialist. After a couple of days in the hospital and some testing, we found out that he does have sleep apnea. We got a mask for him and everything has been fantastic. He feels better in the morning. I feel better for being well rested, and we both feel better that he's breathing regularly in his sleep. Everything is great again. Communication and understanding are key. Thanks again. Well, OP, congratulations to the both of you for doing what you needed to do to get to this place. Communication and understanding are key, just like you say, OP. That is the key. So here's wishing you both the best in the future. Thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.